back, everybody, to Resilience by Faith podcast with Reese. Today, of course, is interview time, and I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Lindsay. I like to say Lindsay B because I'm always scared I'm going to say your last name wrong. It's Brumfield.
I like B. I do like that.
Lindsay B. Okay, let's keep it short. Lindsay B.
I like it.
Yes. How are you doing today, love?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It is the day before Thanksgiving. Of course, for those of you guys listening, we're in 2022 still, but when you listen to it, it'll be the next year. And I pre record. So, present wise, it is the day before Thanksgiving, and it is as crazy as it wants to be. The stores are empty. So, if you were a last minute shopper, it's too late. Um, but I think it's as good as it can be. I got all my cooking done, so that's good.
You're a prepper. That's good.
Oh,
It's
yes.
better than getting up early in the morning and cooking.
I can't. I don't know how grandma and mom did it because they cooked all day. And then about time we eat is around 6 o'clock, and I'm ready to eat at 2. So I'm like, where's the food? What is your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Probably mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. Yes.
Yeah.
That's mine too. I love mac and cheese and I love sweet potato pie. I love pie.
Another good one. Yeah.
Yes. A lot of people like pumpkin and I'm like, I had pumpkin pie and it just don't really sit with me as well as the sweet potato does. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
yes. So usually I like to start the podcast off with just like a icebreaker. And one of the things that I like to ask is, what is one thing that somebody who wouldn't, I would say somebody who you don't know wouldn't know about you by looking at you?
Okay. So just by looking at me, someone wouldn't know that I used to clog. So that's like tap dancing, but a tap has the one
Mhm.
piece of metal and clogging, has both. And it's not Irish clogging.
No,
It's like tap dancing.
like tap dancing. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you've seen that commercial with the whole family, and they're like tapping and tap dancing or clogging, and the people upstairs are like, "What is going on?" And it's like they don't ever stop. Have you seen that commercial?
No, I haven't, but it's really loud.
Yes, that's how it was. It was like when I was living in Virginia, I was in an apartment and I was on the second floor and I had an upstairs neighbor and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I clear it sounded like they were either tap dancing or throwing bowling balls. There was no in between. And I would always have to call the police when it got out of hand. And I'm like, please, can you go upstairs and just ask them to like calm it down? I have to get up at 6 and it's already 3 o'clock. And they're like, well, there's nothing we can really, like there's nothing we could really do. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. Yeah. But that's what made me think of that when you said that. I was like, no.
Yeah, I mean, that's dedication to be tap dancing in the middle of the night.
In the middle of like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I started to think it was intentional. And I was like, now, if you set an alarm for the wee hours just to get on my nerves, you have no life. Just no life. It's a sham. How long did you do
Neighbor war.
talking? I know. How long did you do it
So I started with my mom in kindergarten,
for?
and then in high school, I didn't really quit, but I didn't go as much. I was a little embarrassed.
No. I
Yeah, there's just not a lot of people that clog.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
don't believe I've heard of it before. So now I've learned. So, like on previous episodes, we talked about the difference between deaf and hearing loss community, and now we're learning the difference between clogging and tap dancing. So I'm learning a
Yeah,
whole lot of things this season, definitely.
yeah. It's definitely an Appalachian dance, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
pretty
there any
specific, I would say.
is there like any certain attire or anything that you wear when you do it, or is it just like whatever?
Yeah, so, Usually, like, when you're performing, you wear, like, the frilly skirts
Oh,
and kinda, like, the lacy tops,
uh-huh.
but if it's really informal, we would just wear, like, jeans and a t-shirt, which I loved.
Yeah. Yes.
Hated the frilly skirts.
Okay. Yes, so it's not like cheer or anything where you compete. It was more
No.
like a hobby type thing.
Yeah, no, it was kinda like a mom-daughter kinda thing
Oh, I
that
think
we did together. Yeah.
that's super cute. Okay. So I know where are you calling in from?
So right now I'm in Marion, Virginia, which is where, the school is at that I'm going to.
Okay, super cool. Well, I
Mhm.
always, during my interviews, I always have people come on and kind of like share their story of something that they went through that they feel like made them who they are today or taught them an important lesson. And so I want you to share your story of resilience and something that you went through. For those of you guys who don't know Miss Lindsay, we know each other. So we mentor people, we give back to the profession that we're both in, but definitely I picked Miss Lindsay because she is going to be my colleague, and I realized that throughout my whole podcasting journey, I have never had another colleagues, so to speak, like no doctors or anything on the show, because I try not to make it about that. But I was like, it would be interesting if I had someone either, coming into the profession or either already in the profession, whether they be old or whether they be young. I just wanted someone to kind of share their story on the show. So that's why I picked Miss Lindsay, and that's how we got here today.
Yay.
Yeah. And so I'll do you want me to prompt you with questions or do you kind of just want to give me a summary and then we just go from there?
Ask away,
Okay.
and then if I've got more to say than other answers, I'll speak how much I need to speak.
Okay. All right, my love. So I'll definitely say I think we all have that like aha moment wherein like hindsight is always 2020. So like we're sitting there and thinking about something that we went through and then you look at it and you're just like, "Oh, that had to happen because if that wouldn't have happened, then I couldn't have had experienced this and then I wouldn't be here today." So, what is something that like that of that nature that you've had to go through in life? Ooh.
Lord, I mean, are you talking about, like, my my PA journey, or
It could
there's
be
just
anything,
so
but
many.
you can relate it to PA if that's easier for you to talk about since that's kind of current.
Yeah, so, I think a lot of struggles that I had during, undergrad,
Mhm.
getting those grades and all of that was definitely, I mean, it's you need to work hard and all, but hindsight, looking back, my health was more important than getting an A or,
Yeah.
even a B. Um, so I use those lessons now in my life. I always put myself first, I don't like it's like I'll always remember that feeling of just like actual torture it felt sometimes of just being in so much pain just from feeling like I needed to stay up really late. I have narcolepsy, so feeling like I needed to drive an hour to work
Mhm.
and just like
Mhm.
that feeling that I don't have to feel anymore because I always put myself first. So looking retrospectively,
Mhm.
that's probably one of the bigger lessons that I've learned is to always put yourself first and definitely your health, put your health first.
Well, definitely, because I remember, like, much like you, like when I was in school or when I was preparing, like trying to get a 4.0 or a 4.5 or a 5.0 and like just be at the top so that they wouldn't find reasons to not accept me. And then once I got in, it was like I had to stay there. And it's kind of sickening to an extent because it's like everybody in the class is type A, whether you want to admit it or not. And I never wanted to admit that I was type A in PA school. I'm like, I'm not type A. But I think to an
Yeah.
extent, everybody has a sprinkle that's in medicine somewhere.
Yeah. You're right, you're right.
Yes, and so I was just like, "Oh my gosh," but I worried so much about, like, making the grades and making sure that everybody else in the class knew I was smart, that it started to give me really, really bad anxiety. And I just, excuse me, I did forgot to put my phone on silent. It really, really gave me really, really bad anxiety, and I literally started
Mhm.
suffering. So I didn't know what it was at first. I didn't know it was anxiety. I thought I had stomach issues. And then fast forward, like I went to the stomach doctor, I went to go get a CT, I went to go do all the things and they couldn't find anything. And then that's when I just chopped it up to it must be anxiety. But I was very like cautious about getting on medication because I was just like, well, none of my family members have been on medicine for anxiety. And this is kind of like I'm going into this by myself. Is there anything
Mhm.
like when you're talking about narcolepsy? I've of course read about narcolepsy and I've treated a couple of people with narcolepsy, but is it like what age were you diagnosed and like how did that affect you like growing up with narcolepsy? If you have any siblings or a mom or a dad, or is this just you? Or is this you're the one that started the
It's
trend?
just me.
Just you?
The lone wolf out here. So I was diagnosed, in 2019,
Uh-huh,
right after I graduated college. But I've had symptoms since my freshman year in college.
uh-huh.
So this has been a more recent thing, that I've kinda had to go through the process of getting the diagnosis and figuring out, how I'm gonna change my lifestyle and everything.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, no one in my family has it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know a few people that have it from support groups that I'm in and yada yada, but
Yes.
which support groups I will go to my grave advocating for support groups. I love them. I love
Yes.
them so much.
Glad you mentioned that. That reminded me of my friend. My friend, when her mom passed, she had support groups that she was in, and then when her dad passed, she got right back into the same support groups that she was in, and there were people there that was just very, of course, supportive, but also telling their
Yeah.
story, and everybody's just uplifting each other, so you know that you're not alone, and I think that's
Yeah.
just so so needed.
Yep.
Definitely. So, gosh, so 2019, so that was our last good year of life, and then
Yeah.
I call it before COVID, so BC. Um,
Yeah, I've heard that. I like that too.
that's BC when things were things, and okay, so you got diagnosed. Is there anything like any restrictions that they put on you or anything like a certain diet or anything that they said, "Don't do that," or "Try not to drive with here," or whatever? Have they
Yeah, definitely driving. Um, I try not to drive long distances just because, it's dangerous. Um, there's nothing like formal
Mhm.
that's been like recommended diet wise, but a lot of people say that keto is good for narcoleptics just because of the carbs that I mean, everybody gets sleepy with carbs.
Mhm.
Cue Thanksgiving tomorrow. I'm gonna be sleeping all day.
Yeah, me too. Imma eat my favorites and get the itis and go to sleep. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Got nowhere to be.
Yeah, me neither.
Nope, just get in the bed. So gosh, okay. So how has receiving that diagnosis, like, changed your life, I guess, personally, besides the restrictions and everything? How do you feel about it, and how has that made you feel about yourself?
Yeah, I think, having, like, the actual label of it has been very, like I don't really know the word, but it's just helped me kinda get through, again, like, how I'm gonna start living my life differently.
Yes,
Because when I didn't have the name or the diagnosis, it was hard to explain to people what was going on,
right.
especially with the cataplexy. Cataplexy is just
Yeah,
hard to explain to people.
yes.
It's something that no one really experiences outside of narcolepsy, so a lot of people don't hear about it.
Right.
Um, so now that, you have those labels, I guess, it's just made it a lot easier to talk about and
Mhm.
research about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But when you don't have that diagnosis and you don't know what's going on, you do feel really alone. You just feel lost, and yeah, you don't. It was just a very confusing time.
yes. Okay. Gotcha. So I guess for the people listening who may not be in medicine, can you explain the difference between narcolepsy and cataplexy?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So,
I'm not pimping
love
you, I
talking about
promise.
it.
I promise I'm not pimping you.
Yeah, for the viewers that don't know, I'm in my clinical year right now, so by now I'm used to being pimped, I think. I'm in my 3rd rotation, so I've warmed up to it.
Okay.
Yeah, but, so narcolepsy is, basically you just have this chemical in your brain called orexin that we don't have, and normal people have it, and all it does is keep you awake, but narcoleptics don't have it for whatever reason. Some people say it's genetic, some people think it's autoimmune, and then the cataplexy is just a symptom of the narcolepsy, and, some people think that it is kinda linked to, like, the sleep-wake cycle with dreaming, but basically what happens is any sort of emotion that you feel, you kinda, have muscle weakness or paralysis,
Yes, which is hard.
if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense to
Yeah,
me. I don't know if it makes sense to
yeah,
the viewers, but if y'all have questions, we gonna get into how you can get in touch with her later, but help.
absolutely, yes.
But yeah, so like if you're happy or like if is it like any for you, like is it happiness? Is it sadness? Is it anger? Is it or all of
Yeah. Right, yeah, so I think, the main one, especially, like, in textbooks, is laughter, right?
yes.
And that's the main one that I experience, but, I've experienced, anger,
Mhm.
kinda like shock or surprise,
Yeah.
um, I think really that's it, and sometimes it just happens, it's really weird, like, I'll just have, like, a random thought,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know, it's just I don't even have, like, an emotion to really link to it.
Uh-huh.
It's just, like, just random thoughts I'll have, and I'll just kinda have a episode.
Do
So just all kinds of different.
do your doctors think that it like since you didn't have it since birth, like it's not congenital, it's not like and it just came within the last couple years, do they think like what is the prognosis? Huh? Or what is the outcome?
Yeah.
Like do they think it'll go away? Do they think like or no?
Yeah. So, I haven't really had that discussion with my doctor, but from what I've read is
Mhm.
usually, symptoms kinda get, like, not as severe as you age,
Uh-huh.
which I think I've experienced as I've especially, obviously, with treatment, my symptoms aren't as bad.
Yes.
Um, yeah,
Okay.
that's
That's
my final answer.
yes. That's a good thing. We're going to hope that it's just going to go away one day and it's not going to be here anymore. So
Yeah.
I'm here for it. And even if not, at least it won't be as strong or as worrisome. So I'm here for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. I definitely say, how has your family like handled this?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a great question. In the beginning, you know, they didn't really know what it was, and sometimes I think there was, like, questions of if, like, I really had it, because they I was in college, so they didn't get to see me as much, they
Oh,
didn't get to see the excessive sleepiness, and sometimes they didn't even get to see the cataplexy because
mhm,
then the cataplexy wasn't as bad,
mhm.
um but when it would happen, I mean, sometimes cataplexy can look fake in some
Oh,
people. It just so I think they thought that I was faking it.
oh Lord.
So it was just hard for them, to understand exactly, like, what I was going through.
Mhm.
But again, that diagnosis was like the golden ticket. Once I got that diagnosis, it was very validating,
Right.
and people started to believe, "Oh, okay, she really does have something going on."
Right. And I'm just like, my Lord,
Yeah.
so why would it take all that? But then I like to talk to the fact that you said it was validating because a lot of people knowing like I do mental health and they get a diagnosis and they're like, "Oh my god, my life is over." And then you have the other types of people who get a diagnosis and they're like, "Finally, I have an answer because I've
Yeah.
been going through this forever and nobody like could tell me what was going on with me." So I'm happy you have a good doctor and they were able to figure out what's going on. Um, and I'm happy your family came around and but they overall they do support you and they're there, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely have a very supporting family. It was just getting them to the point of understanding what was going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I definitely say what like going through this, when did you start PA school and like at what yeah, kinda like a timeline of this and how has that affected your schooling and learning? Because PA school is not for the weak-hearted, and I just know if this is going off of emotion and if stress is one of them. So I'm like, how are you navigating all this?
Yeah. So I started in 2021. Didactic was rough. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
It was rough. But my school was accommodating, so I do have an accommodation plan with my school.
cool.
So that was very helpful, to have that option,
Mm,
and, they worked with me with the things that I needed, like, in the classroom, and now with clinical year, especially, like, with driving, they work with me so that, I don't have to drive so much,
yes.
um, to sites and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Because 'cause I'm just like, "Whoa." I had, a rotation where I had to drive an hour to get to, and back, so that's 2 hours a day, and then I had to wake up at the crack of dawn to get there on time, and then it just burn you up when you get there on time and then the preceptor isn't there on time. That just but I'm just like, "I could have been in my bed."
Right? Yeah.
But the things you do when you're in PA school, you're like, "Just please pass me so I can whatever, just I'm fine. It's
Yep.
great. Everything is great." But no, I'm glad that your
Everyone's
school was
fine.
accommodating. Huh?
Yep, me too. Me
Yes.
too.
'Cause definitely, like, we don't talk enough about, like, people who struggle with different things in PA school. People just talk about, like, going to school, we cry, we break down, we come alive during the 2nd year, we get our white coat in between, and then we graduate, and then the boards. So it's like nobody really talks about having room for any accommodations because everybody's just like, "Just focus," like, tunnel vision, just so I'm happy that we're having this conversation to shed awareness and bring awareness to like, no, everybody's not tunnel vision. Like some things do happen that we don't have control over in school
Mhm.
or outside of school, personal life, and it can affect like your learning and different things like that. Some people even got to take a detour. I did have a classmate who had to take a break and come back. Um, because of personal problems. So it happens, but I'm glad that you're talking about it. Uh-oh, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay, because it blinked. But I'm glad that you're here sharing your story with us about that. And I'll definitely ask you, my love, if there's somebody out there listening and maybe they want to go to PA school, maybe like they might have narcolepsy or cataplexy and they might have seizures or some type of disability, what would you say like to encourage them to just follow their dreams or encourage them to seek what it is that they want?
Yeah, I mean, obviously go for it, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I guess the main advice that I would give would be to be proactive, especially with things like accommodations and um, things like that. Is do those before you need them. So don't wait until you need them to set all those types of things up. And I mean, most people are open to accommodating you
Right.
and helping you, get the things that you need. Um, and then also don't care about what other people think.
No.
It's definitely been a struggle for me through PA school, right? Just kind of overthinking and then caring too much about people's comments and their opinions on, my diagnosis. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that would be another piece of advice is don't care. Just,
No.
you know, for the most part, their opinions don't matter.
Nope, they're not getting paid, nor do they have any type of degree saying that we should care about their opinion. So
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Oh Lord, here I am. That's the old me. That's the old me. But definitely, no, I just can't stand that. I can't stand it's almost like a form
Yeah,
of bullying in a way, and it's making
it
people
really
themselves and down in themselves. I'm like, come on, people, we're too old for this. Like, get over
right.
it. It is what it is. I have what I have. I'm not complaining. I can't stand
Yeah.
people like that. But I'm
Mhm.
here. I support you. I know that me and you, we work together. We do the mentorship together. But anytime you need anything else outside of this, love, I'm always here. Always. So
Yep.
any way I can help. Yes.
Same goes for you. I don't know if I'd be able to help, but
Of course, a listening
I'm
ear is
always
always
willing.
appreciated. Yeah, anything, anything. And where can people find you? Like, if they want to reach out to you and support you in any way?
Yeah, so I mean, I have, Instagram, which, I think we have my tag.
Yes.
That's probably the main way is my Instagram.
Is Instagram. Okay. Yes, guys,
Yeah.
please. Thank you for reminding me. You guys can see Lindsay's Insta tag in the show notes. And also, if you follow our page, you would have seen the flyer already posted with the tag in there and a brief description about what today's show was going to be about. So you can find them any of those two places. And then if you don't have access for some reason to none of those things, you can always shoot me an email asking for her information, and I will gladly give it to you. So, Lindsay, I just want to thank you so much. I hope that the people who listen to this show is actually very, very, very so much inspired by you. I'm inspired by you, and I know you're going to be an awesome colleague to me and for your
I can't
patience.
wait.
Yes, I can't wait either. I'm ready to celebrate. Because I know it's already done. But definitely. Oh, and speaking of that, before we leave off the show, that would be rude of me. How has the Lord, or the higher power, or the universe, or what have you? Because I don't want to offend anybody if you don't believe in the Lord. But how have faith impacted your being?
Patience, so much patience.
So much patience.
Yep. Patience with time, patience with people, patience with myself.
Yes. Oh Lord, we have this running joke in Bible study that we don't pray for patience because everything start going wrong. Because the Lord is like, "Oh, you want patience? Let me test you." We're like, "No," and the whole world ends, and then you just learn patience the hard way. And I'm like, "Don't ask for patience. Don't ask for faith. Don't certain things you just don't ask for."
It's a good quality to have.
Yes, it's a good quality. I'm like, "Lord, I have patience. Patience is a virtue. I have it. I'm good." Oh gosh. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. And I hope you have a great week. Y'all stay safe out there, and I will see you on the next episode. And thank you, Lindsay, for coming on again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.